the Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, authorities identify remains found by a psychic medium in Jay.
Plus, the latest from Augusta, where lawmakers are trying to reach a budget deal to avoid a government shutdown.
And Springfield residents are hoping for relief from flood damage along the local roads.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. We'll have those stories and more coming up. But first, to check out that important forecast. Looks like today will be kind of a dreary day with some rain, maybe even a little snow in some areas. Good news is we'll see more sunshine as we head through the weekend.
I know, it's pretty typical of spring.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Here's what we got. Low temperatures actually not too bad as we start things off this morning. Overall in the upper 30s to lower 40s. These may take down a few more degrees before we're all finished up. Otherwise, one lone area under a flood advisory, and that is because of some ice jams taking place. Other areas under gale warnings and small craft advisories, at least through Saturday because of some active surf that we're currently dealing with. Of course, also dealing with some areas of dense fog across our neck of the woods this morning. So if you do encounter some of that, take it slow and allow extra time to get to your destination. We have clouds moving in, increasing clouds today. There is the rain off toward the west, tracking from the west going toward the east overall. We will have rain moving in today, and maybe some snow late into the afternoon, into the evening time frame as well. Here's a system mainly right about in here, some snow on the back edge where colder air will be moving in. So futurecast moving forward, showing the rain switching over a little bit of snow later this afternoon to the evening time frame. Then once we get towards Saturday morning, all of this, including the clouds, get out of here. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing rain, maybe a little bit of snow late with temperatures overall in the 30s and 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thank you, Devin. We'll have a look at that full 5-day a little later on. First thing this morning, an infant and her father are dead, and the child's mother is in the hospital after a crash on Wednesday night in Lewiston. The crash happened at around 10:45. Police responded to 393 Grove Street, where they say a Corolla went off the road and slammed into a tree. Police say the driver, 20-year-old Tyrell Williger of Brunswick, died. The police chief says Williger's 7-month-old daughter was hospitalized and also later died. Her 20-year-old mother was last listed in critical condition. Police say speed is part of what caused the crash, and the Criminal Investigation Division is looking into what happened.
Well, meanwhile, the skeletal remains found by a psychic medium in Jay have now been identified. The medical examiner's office identified the remains as 54-year-old Victor Probanik Jr. of Livermore Falls. Officials say he was reported missing in 2023, and his death is not considered to be suspicious. His remains were found in October behind a closed bowling alley by Laurencia Bourget, who claims to be a psychic medium. She had been working with Kimberly Moreau's family. Moreau was 17 years old when she disappeared in Jay back in 1986 and has not been found.
Doctor accused of sexually assaulting a patient has pleaded not guilty. Dr. Michael Gilmore was arraigned on Thursday after being charged with unlawful sexual touching and unlawful sexual contact. Gilmore closed his Bangor practice last winter after being accused of sexually assaulting a 23-year-old patient. He claimed he touched her in areas without a medical reason to do so. His practice has since closed, and Gilmore lost his license to practice here in Maine. Gilmore pleaded not guilty yesterday and is out on bail. According to the Bangor Daily, he's expected to be back in court in June for a court hearing.
Well, a man from Unity has received his sentence for sexually assaulting a 12-year-old child. 31-year-old Jesse Harvey was sentenced Thursday for gross sexual assault. According to the Morning Sentinel, Harvey pleaded guilty in December as part of a plea deal that capped his sentence at 10 years. He'll also be on 10 years of supervised release after he gets out of prison. During that time, he won't be allowed to have contact with anyone under the age of 18 or have unsupervised contact with his own children.
Clothing retailer Patagonia is suing Martins for allegedly knowingly selling counterfeit clothing. In the lawsuit filed earlier this week, Patagonia claims the retail store promoted and sold the counterfeit jackets in all 13 of its locations around the state of Maine. The lawsuit states, in part, quote, Patagonia is informed and believes that the defendant has sourced, marketed, and sold substantial quantities of the counterfeit products and has obtained and continues to profit from such sales, end quote. Martins is denying the allegations made in the lawsuit. Yesterday, they posted on the company Facebook page, quote, it was brought to our attention that Martins unknowingly purchased mislabeled Patagonia down sweaters, which were recently sold in our stores. These jackets were sold and invoiced to Martins as authentic Patagonia products. Martins is aggressively looking into this, and we encourage any customers who purchased one of these Patagonia down sweaters to return it to your local Martins for a full refund. All remaining products in question have been removed from our retail stores. We are deeply sorry for this inconvenience.
Well, anyone driving south in the Pittsfield area today will want to exercise caution and leave a little extra travel time due to road construction underway in the area. The Department of Transportation will be closing the southbound side of I-95 near mile marker 152 in Pittsfield from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. They say the closure is necessary while crews repair pavement on the median crossover. Southbound traffic should detour to exit 157 Newport and take Route 100 and Somerset Avenue to exit 150 in Pittsfield. That's where you can re-enter I-95. They say there will be signs marking those detour routes today.
In other news, a state budget is now heading to the governor's desk after lawmakers reached a deal on Thursday. Legislative Democrats led the charge to approve the $11.3 billion plan last night. They say it will continue to fund existing programs for the next 2 years without any cuts or additions. Our Alex Schley has more on how the day unfolded.
The Maine State House of Representatives passed the proposed biannual budget with a majority 74 to 69 vote.
We got it passed. We got it passed with a majority that works perfectly correctly under the Constitution, and I'm glad we did it because the consequence would have been a disaster.
However, Representative Kimberly Hagan says Republicans aren't as pleased.
This budget is putting more strain on our Mainers.
A big point of contention holding up the passing of the budget, Maine Care.
A family of 3 that makes $80,000 a year, they don't need their kids on Maine Care. But the law says they can be.
Republicans say there needs to be more checks on the state health insurance program.
There are too many changes that need to be made to make it long-lasting. That we have too many enrolled, people that maybe aren't qualified. It's just, we will be back every year to try to pay for Maine Care.
But Democrats say withholding funds isn't the solution.
The Democrats had offered, as part of our compromises, to do an outside audit of Maine Care. That was part of what we included in the supplemental budget. That was based on what they asked us for, and then they still didn't support it.
After the House, the budget will go to the state Senate.
Once it comes here, we'll go through a similar process that they have, and it will probably take late into the night. But I'm hopeful that we're going to reach an approved budget, that when we leave here, we'll have a budget that's been approved and ready to go.
Baldacci says lawmakers hope to have a budget passed by the end of the month. In Augusta, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Again, the state budget was approved last night following votes in the House and Senate, where Democrats have the majority. It will now appear on Governor Mills' desk for her signature.
They did. They worked well into the night last night. I think it was well after 11 p.m. last night when they finally reached the deal. Republicans not too happy about how it unfolded. They were hoping for more cuts this time around, but in the end, the Democrats just kind of forced it on through.
Yeah, we'll hear more about that as the day goes on.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 8:09. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, President Trump orders the dismantling of the Department of Education. We'll have the latest from Washington.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. A rainy day ahead today. Some folks may see a little snow as well. Highs around 42 degrees. Rain and snow early tonight, and the clouds will start decreasing. Lows dropping down to the upper 20s. Tomorrow will start off a little cloudy, but then we'll see some more sunshine as we head through Saturday into Sunday. Highs tomorrow around 55 degrees. We'll be right back.
No getting getting around it. Fast Freddy loves playing fast. That's why he loves Maine Lottery's Fast Play games. Cha-Ching is loaded with $50, $250, and $500 prizes. 500,000 Platinum Payout has a huge top prize. I won. You can too. Play today. Fast Freddy's ready to work fast. When he's done, it's time to play. Maine Lottery's Fast Play games. VIP Club Progressive Jackpots start at $500,000. Maine Cash Multiplier Jackpots start at $150,000. Lace up and go to your local retailer today.
Derek.
Hey, Mom, I need to lay low for a couple days. There's too much heat on this car.
Too much heat?
I only paid for a Hyundai Tucson.
Ruth! Listen, Jenna, I need to lay low for a few days. Why?
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson for $259 a month today.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Welcome to Truck Country, where sweat becomes fuel, bumpers become bruisers, and pedals become pedestals. Where a future is written, one lap at a time, and burned into history. Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Welcome back, everyone. President Trump signing an executive order on Thursday to begin the process of dismantling the Department of Education. It fulfills a campaign promise and a longtime policy goal for conservatives. The president claims the department spends too much money for too little return, and education decisions would be better left to the states. The move, though, drawing backlash from Democrats and teachers' unions who say it will hurt students. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has more.
President Trump flanked by young students signing an executive order Thursday to dismantle the Department of Education.
The United States spends more money on education by far than any other country, and spends likewise by far more money per pupil than any country, and it's not even close. But yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success, and we've been there for a long time.
Trump tasked Linda McMahon with taking it apart, saying he hopes she'll be the last education secretary.
And he wants to get those dollars, even more dollars, back to the states without the bureaucracy of Washington.
Most school funding already comes from states and municipalities. The White House says it will keep key programs like Pell Grants and student loans, but those responsibilities could be moved to another agency. Dissolving the department altogether could be a tough task, requiring congressional approval and Democrat votes. Democrats and union leaders are already railing against the move, and lawsuits are likely.
Educators are feeling it right now. The reality that they will not have arts and music, the reality that they will not have after-school programs, the reality that they will have larger class sizes. This is not okay, that we are sacrificing our students.
Secretary McMahon says she plans to work with Congress on the next steps. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Maine home sales increased in February. That's according to Maine listings. Sales of single-family homes rose by 6.5% compared to February of last year. But the number of home sales isn't the only metric that went up. The price of those homes increased by 9% statewide, reaching a median price of $381,500. The biggest increase in price was in Hancock County, which saw a 17.87% rise. Prices in Somerset County saw the biggest decline in price. They actually went down by 6.37%.
Well, outside Bangor's post office on Hammond Street yesterday morning, various unions and everyday people gathered in protest against the proposed privatization of the United States Postal Service. Our Doug Banks with that story.
Organized by the American Postal Workers Union, a large number of folks gathered outside the post office on Hammond Street here in downtown Bangor to voice their disapproval of the Trump administration's talks over privatizing the United States Postal Service.
The word out there is that the Postal Service lost $9 billion. I disagree. It cost $9 billion. No one says the United States Navy lost $14 billion on the new Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, because it's there for the people. It's there to protect the people. We don't lose money, we cost money.
USPS is an independent agency and public service under the federal government. According to Smith, privatizing the USPS could make delivery times longer and more expensive.
It means lowered service standards and raised prices. In the short term, it would save money for the people who bought the Postal Service, and eventually it would increase their profits, but again, at the detriment of the American people.
My family members get their medications through the Postal Service. They rely on it. They live rurally. It's the easiest and most cost-efficient way that they can get it.
I hope that this brings awareness to what we're talking about. You know, maybe people will be not just informed, but excited. You know, we need to come together right now.
Thursday morning was a national day of action for the Postal Workers Union, as this picketing in Bangor was one of many that occurred across the country.
It is a public service for a reason. It is the service of the government, for the people, by the people.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 8:16. After the break, spring is here and rain is in the forecast. We'll check out some concerns from a flood zone.
Plus that full 5-day forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
We're here at US Cellular, Frost Days, where our customers get exclusive deals just for them. It's like we got our own special club. Should we show them?
Get $1,200 off any phone plus $500 off any tablet.
Treat yourself to rich Ghirardelli chocolate and luscious caramel. Experience Ghirardelli caramel squares in a bag and a bar. Makes life a bite better.
It's markdown mania at the Furniture Gallery, and the deals are madness. Relax in this cozy recliner. Choose tan, gray, or brown for only $2.98. Grab a sofa chaise for just $5.98. Upgrade your living room with a sofa and love seat set, now just $7.98. Scott Living mattresses are now priced king size for a queen price. Plus, save up to 70% on in-stock clearance items. Hurry into the Furniture Gallery, shop our main family-owned business, and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
When Patriot Waste Disposal wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Patriot Waste Disposal provides dumpster rental services to eastern and central Maine. Whether you're looking to do a little spring cleaning or are tackling a commercial project, Patriot Waste Disposal has you covered.
Hey, 25 words or less superfans. Our Superfan Contest has returned.
You can do it!
You'll be on air with Meredith, the celebs, correct, and the contestants. Enter to win at 25words.com.
I'm Amy K!
Wow!
Good luck and keep your streak alive.
You just made $1,000 for Nikki at home.
Thank you so much.
The lucky superfans will be chosen at random. If the contestants win $10,000, you win $1,000. Enter now.
At US Cellular, you don't have to choose between a great phone and the right phone plan for you. You can get 4 free phones of your choice and 4 lines for just $90.
That's like us not having to choose between tickets to wrestling or that puppet musical.
Because you get both.
US Cellular, built for
Welcome back, everyone. Residents in Springfield are hoping to spark action from the town and state officials over recent flood damage along their road that they say has made it challenging to even leave their homes.
Our Grace Blanchard shares more.
As spring arrives, heavy rains and melting snow are already wreaking havoc on some communities.
Flooding is the leading cause of weather-related deaths and property damage in the U.S. It's often because of heavy rainfall, rapid snowmelt, storm surges, things like that.
Residents in a remote part of Springfield say their road received major flooding on Wednesday that damaged a culvert, making it challenging for them to leave their homes.
It's relatively impassable except by foot travel. I mean, you can get in and out with a four-wheeler or 4x4, but not with a vehicle.
Richard Hawley and Jeffrey Burns are among the few residents living along the Ghost Road.
It's a pretty big deal because you got people living back here. You can't get food. You know, you have to. This guy's supposed to walk it. He's 70 years old. He's supposed to walk his groceries.
The residents say they both raised their concerns during the latest town hall meeting and have reached out to both state and federal officials.
The town hall didn't look like they were interested in fixing the road. They wanted us to fix it.
They are also concerned about emergency crews being able to reach them amid these conditions.
It's always a possibility when you're working out in the woods or, you know, doing things. Anything could happen to you.
Members of the volunteer fire department say they face challenges accessing that area each mud season, but they deal with the conditions as best as they can and call on additional resources for help if necessary. We made attempts to reach town officials but did not receive a response. In Springfield, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
People just visiting Maine for the first time, that is why we call it mud season up here.
Yeah,
We have
right.
similar problems across the state.
And if you have a driveway that's kind of like that, you know it very well as well.
You could lose your whole car in it.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, the time now is 8:20.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Alrighty, we got one lone flood advisory up until further notice, dealing with some ice jams in this one lone area, while gale warnings and small crowd advisories are up along the coast as we are dealing with some active surf at this time. Let's check on that right now at around 5 feet according to the buoys. Anywhere you see this light blue or even the green out there, that indicates some of the active surf that we are dealing with this morning. Meanwhile, we're also dealing with some areas of dense fog that has reduced visibility in many areas this morning. Definitely exercise some caution as you do make that morning commute. We are watching clouds tracking off to the north and east. There's some rain right about in here too, and there's even some snow on the back edge as some colder air is causing some of the precipitation here to switch over to a little bit of snow. We'll see a little bit of snow from the system before it wraps up later on tonight. So futurecast moving forward, there's some rain passing through. We're going to be watching for this to switch over to snow later this afternoon. Then once we head towards the evening time frame, again, a little bit of snow can't be ruled out. Notice as we head towards Saturday morning, the clouds get out of here too, so we'll have a good amount of sunshine as we head towards your Saturday. Maybe some clouds moving in by Saturday evening with another little system moving in, so some rain and snow again as we head towards early Sunday morning. As for the rainfall, a decent amount, maybe up to a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch of rain before we're all finished up with this current system. And then a little bit of snow can't be ruled out either, maybe a couple inches further off towards the north and not much of anything, maybe a little bit further down toward the south, but otherwise nothing too impressive at this point. But otherwise, your forecast coming up for today, we have low 40s, some rain and snow on the way. It will be breezy as well. North wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour or so. Later on tonight, upper 20s, some rain and snow early, decreasing clouds overnight, and that northwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. And then it's Saturday, mid-50s. That will feel nice, increasing clouds, breezy out there, southwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine. So some morning snow showers Sunday, otherwise partly cloudy to even mostly sunny with highs in the upper 30s. Upper 30s again for your Monday, a good chance for snow. More rain and snow opportunities Tuesday with highs in the upper 40s.
Hurry into the Nissan Now sales event to save on an award-winning new Nissan, like the all-new Kicks and Murano. And our best-selling Rogue at the Nissan Now sales event. Nissan over 6 vehicles with starting MSRP under $30,000.
Welcome to Bob's.
Thanks. I know your MV mattress has luxurious hand tufting with temperature-regulating Tencel and gel-infused memory foam for the ultimate sleep experience, but it costs hundreds less than the other national brands. I mean, they're not exactly the same, but is theirs worth so much more?
You be the judge. Oh, and you forgot about our 20-year warranty.
What? That's 10 years more than theirs.
You've really done your research.
It's kind of my thing.
When you get luxury sleep for less, there's only one thing to say. Oh, my Bob!
Dragon Slayer Arcade now has 2 locations inside the Bangor Mall. Dragon Slayer has birthday party packages starting at just $50, which provides you with a designated area for you and your friends, which includes pizza and drinks. Dragon Slayer is all about birthday parties and would love for you to spend your next birthday with us. Give Dragon Slayer a call today to schedule your next birthday party. 860-462-1843.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter. Hurry into the Nissan Now sales event to save on an award-winning new Nissan, like the all-new Kicks and Murano. And our best-selling Rogue at the Nissan Now sales event. Get 4.49% financing for 60 months on Kicks.
This morning, a setback for Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. A federal judge blocking Doge from accessing sensitive Social Security records. It comes as President Trump signs an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details.
Good morning. The judge's order blocks the agency from granting access to systems that contain identifiable information and orders Doge members to destroy any data that identifies individual taxpayers. In a 137-page ruling, a judge blocking Doge's unrestricted access to sensitive Social Security agency data. The judge calling Doge's actions a, quote, fishing expedition, saying the group's approach to identifying fraud is tantamount to hitting a fly with a sledgehammer. The ruling comes as President Trump signs an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, saying he'll return education to the states.
We're going to eliminate it, and everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right.
The Department of Education has been chiefly responsible for enforcing civil rights laws to prevent discrimination in schools, overseeing the process for students applying for college financial aid, and overseeing funding to help low-income schools and students with disabilities. The Trump administration saying it will preserve its responsibilities for low-income schools, Pell Grants, and money for children with disabilities. President Trump is not able to fully eliminate the Department of Education without congressional approval, but his executive order will dramatically scale down its function. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
In other news, an American detained by the Taliban in Afghanistan has been freed in a deal made by American and Qatari mediators. After 2.5 years in captivity, Delta Airlines mechanic George Glesman was released and traveling back to the U.S. on Thursday. Glesman was detained by the Taliban without charges after traveling to Afghanistan for a vacation. He was designated as wrongfully detained by the U.S. government the following year. After weeks of negotiations, Qataris made a breakthrough in recent meetings with the Taliban. In a statement, Secretary of State Marco Rubio praised Qatar for the commitment to diplomatic efforts that he said were instrumental in securing George's release. He also said Glesman's release is a reminder that other Americans are still detained in Afghanistan. Glesman is the third American detainee to be released by the Taliban since January.
A 1-month-old baby girl has been rescued from rubble after a third night of Israeli airstrikes killed over 50 Palestinians across Gaza. The death toll is expected to rise as more victims are pulled from the rubble following overnight bombings. That's 1 month. The 1-month-old's father did not survive. A first wave of airstrikes happened on Tuesday, which broke a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, killing over 400. According to the health ministry in Gaza, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the attack was only the beginning and that Israel would press ahead until it achieves all its war aims, destroying Hamas and freeing all hostages held by the militant group.
One of the world's busiest international airports is closed today after a fire caused a significant power outage. In a statement on X, London's Heathrow Airport says it will be shut down until at least 11:59 local time. A fire at an electrical substation in West London late Thursday night knocked out power and forced evacuations of the airport and several homes. At least 120 flights on the way to the airport were diverted. Heathrow officials say passengers shouldn't travel to the airport until it officially reopens, and they don't know yet when dependable levels of power will be back. Heathrow Airport handles at least 1,300 flights daily, but apparently not today because of that fire.
No, that'll
Boy.
disrupt travel on a worldwide level.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What a mess.
Yep. All right, coming up on the second half of the newscast, all the latest news from Hollywood.
That and more ahead on Good Morning Maine.
For the best LiftMaster openers at real prices, call PDQ Door first. Hi, I'm Dave from PDQ Door. For emergency service, routine maintenance, and tune-ups, make PDQ Door your first call. Learn more at pdqdoor.com, where we sell the best and service the rest.
The Silverado Trail Boss. And a little work. And a little play. And a truck that says no to nothing. And Chevrolet.
During Chevy Truck Month, well-qualified buyers get 2.9% APR for 72 months when you finance with GM Financial. Or get $4,350 total value. Plus, current Chevy owners can get an additional $4,000 total cash allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
Hi, I'm Dave from PDQ Door. For over 30 years, we've been delivering top-notch service to the state of Maine. We're proud to be your trusted and first choice for garage door repair and LiftMaster openings. Visit us online at pdqdoor.com, where we sell the best and service the rest.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, March 21st, 2025. It's also World Poetry Day.
Which is not Craig's favorite holiday,
No.
admittedly.
I'm okay with poetry. I don't go seeking it out myself, but yeah.
I think maybe we'll turn you around to it.
Okay.
I'll find you a
Maybe
good poem
today's
later.
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about it last hour. I'll talk about it in a second. But the United Nations founded this day in 1999. Poetry uses rhythms and imagery to elicit emotion and the imagination of the reader. It's believed the first known poem appeared 4,000 years ago in Babylon. Today, countless types of poems are available to enjoy, including haikus, limericks, sonnets, and ballads. And I'm not like a crazy big fan of poetry either, but I did read a poem a few weeks ago that really had an impact on me. It's called, I believe, The Only Taxi Service in Farmington, Maine, The Only Cab Service in Farmington, Maine, and it's written by an Afghan refugee, a woman who came from Afghanistan and who lived in Farmington, Maine. And she said the poem kind of elicited these memories from Afghanistan that she's sad, she misses it, but it's never been the same since the war.
Right.
And in the taxi cab, she gets in with a Marine who's retired from the Corps, and he talks about how he almost misses Afghanistan, but he has feelings of guilt for being there and, because of the military.
Yeah.
So it's like worlds collide. And I think that type of language and talking about things in that way, it's a lot different than a news article.
Right.
You get different things out of it.
Yeah, they mean different things to different people. Every now and then I'll read a poem that I'm like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
I had to take poetry in college, and it wasn't my favorite class, so I don't really seek it out. But it's like song lyrics and things like that. I'm glad they're there, and I wish I could write like that. I don't really write that very well.
It's just a different way of analyzing the human experience.
Yeah. Good day to read poetry, though. It's going to be kind of gloomy out there.
It's dreary if
Grab
you want to be a melancholic writer.
Just get all deep and stuff.
Right.
So, yeah. Oh, how I love thee.
Right. It's good on a rainy day like this.
Right.
It's the drama.
All right. I'll watch a movie on Netflix.
Yeah,
all right. Time for history. On this day in history, back in 1788, almost the entire city of New Orleans was destroyed by a fire that ravaged 856 buildings. You looked at history, just about every major city in the U.S. have had that kind of a fire here and there, including the city of Bangor. In 1790, Thomas Jefferson reported to President George Washington as the new Secretary of State. In 1945, during World War II, Allied bombers began 4 days of raids over Germany. And in 1952, the Moondog Coronation Ball took place in the Cleveland Arena. It was considered to be the first rock and roll concert here in America.
In 1963, Alcatraz prison in San Francisco closed down and transferred prisoners to other facilities. In 1965, Martin Luther King Jr. began his historic Freedom March from Selma, Alabama to the capital of Montgomery. He led thousands of civil rights demonstrators in an effort to gain voting rights for African Americans in the South. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter announced the U.S. would ban the Summer Olympic Games in Moscow. It was in protest of the Soviet Union's failure to withdraw its troops from Afghanistan. And in 2006, the first ever tweet was published on Twitter. Co-founder Jack Dorsey wrote that he was just setting up his Twitter.
Yeah, makes sense. Something simple.
Yep.
Today's birthdays include actor Matthew Broderick, who is 63 years old today. Comedian Rosie O'Donnell is also 63. And actor Gary Oldman is 67 years old today. We just love Gary Oldman. He's great in everything he does.
He's great in everything, and he's so busy. He's always doing something.
Yeah, interesting characters, too.
Right?
So I bet he could write some poetry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like Craig was saying, it's going to be cloudy, rainy, a good day for a movie.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with a forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Here's what we got. Low temperatures actually not too bad as we start things off this morning. Overall in the upper 30s to lower 40s. These may take down a few more degrees before we're all finished up. Otherwise, one lone area under a flood advisory, and that is because of some ice jams taking place. Other areas under gale warnings and small craft advisories, at least through Saturday because of some active surf that we're currently dealing with. Of course, also dealing with some areas of dense fog across our neck of the woods this morning. So if you do encounter some of that, take it slow and allow extra time to get to your destination. We have clouds moving in, increasing clouds today. There is the rain off toward the west, tracking from the west going toward the east overall. We will have rain moving in today, and maybe some snow late into the afternoon, into the evening time frame as well. Here's a system mainly right about in here, some snow on the back edge where colder air will be moving in. So futurecast moving forward, showing the rain switching over a little bit of snow later this afternoon to the evening time frame. Then once we get towards Saturday morning, all of this, including the clouds, get out of here. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing rain, maybe a little bit of snow late with temperatures overall in the 30s and 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thank you, Devin. And now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood.
Here's Melissa Adon.
You, my boy, are meant to be a musician.
Disney is returning to the world of Coco. CEO Bob Iger confirming a sequel to the 2017 animated film is in development. Disney is the parent company of ABC News.
Where should we go for our next trip? I want to go someplace warm.
Vacation has officially started.
Tina Fey's next TV comedy is called Four Seasons. It's based on the 1981 Alan Alda movie of the same name, about a group of couples on vacation that takes a turn when one of them announces they're divorcing. The new series stars Faye, Will Forte, Steve Carell, and Coleman Domingo. Look for it on Netflix May 1st.
Being Aaron's twin, I can be this voice for him.
There's a new documentary about Backstreet Boy Nick Carter and his late brother Aaron. The Carters Hurts to Love You looks at the lives of the pop superstars and the toll fame took on their family. Directed by Soleil Moon Frye of Punky Brewster fame, the two-part documentary debuts April 15th. And happy birthday, Gary Oldman. The Oscar-winning actor is 67. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
He grew out his hair and changed his glasses.
He can do anything.
He looks like Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he wasn't
that guy.
And he was in the Harry Potter movies too.
Sirius Black.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates, and we'll have somebody coming in to play the dulcimer. If you hadn't heard of it, I'm right there with you, but it's a beautiful instrument.
It really is. A kind of rock and roll version too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to that as Good Morning Maine continues.
Looking for reliable tree care? Cousins Tree Service offers tree removals, pruning, maintenance, and more. Staffed with a licensed and insured arborist, we prioritize safety and customer satisfaction. Contact the team at Cousins Tree Service for professional tree solutions.
If you've been in an accident with a truck, making the wrong call can be costly. Evidence and witnesses can disappear. You need to stop that from happening. These are some of the most complicated cases for a law firm. But not if you call one that handles truck cases every day. Call a law firm with the resources, experience, and power to go after every dollar you deserve. If you're hurt in a truck accident, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Tell them you mean business.
You live in vacation land, right?
Then get out and vacation, why don't you? And do it in style by renting an RV from Maine Campo Rentals. Fully furnished, fully insured, ready to roll out and explore. Or maybe you have relatives visiting you. Save your marriage, save the hotel expense, put them up in an affordable RV from Maine Campo Rentals. We'll deliver to Acadia and local campgrounds too. Call or visit online at mainecamporentals.com. Put away that cell phone and discover vacation land with Maine Campo Rentals in Brewer.
Winter is a time to get outside and enjoy all that Maine has to offer. And when it's time to come inside, rest assured everything's toasty because of your Fujitsu heat pump from Valley Home Services. Push a button and you'll be snuggling up on the couch in no time. Valley Home Services offers reliable rebates, significant energy savings, and expert installation. And now save $500 off each indoor unit for all systems installed by April 1st. Embrace the comfort of Fujitsu heat pumps from Valley Home Services. Call or click today.
Looking for reliable tree care? Cousins Tree Service offers tree removals, pruning, maintenance, and more. Staffed with a licensed and insured arborist, we prioritize safety and customer satisfaction. Contact the team at Cousins Tree Service for professional tree solutions.
The Kings of the Lanes lay everything on the line for a major. The PBA, Saturday on Fox.
It is playoff hockey time at TD Garden. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Maine hockey in action in the Hockey East semifinals Thursday night in Boston, looking to get to their first finals since 2012, taking on Northeastern. Let's roll the highlights. Boston is Orono South on Thursday. Maine fans flocking to watch their Black Bears. First period, no score. Owen Fowler fresh out of the penalty box. After the kill, he finds himself wide open, buries it between the legs of Cameron Whitehead. Maine up 1-0. Second period now, Maine coming out firing. Lyndon Breen's shot is saved, but it falls right to Fowler, who buries it over the shoulder of Whitehead. Maine up 2-0. And that was his second of the game. Huskies add one late in the second. On the attack in the third, Jackson Dorrington taking it into the zone over to Cam Lunn, who lifts it over the arm of Albin Boya to tie this one up at 2. Third period now. Northeastern still applying pressure. They throw a shot on net. It's saved and then cleaned up by Andy Moore. The Cumberland native gives the Huskies a 3-2 lead. Later on, Maine wins the faceoff. Luke Antonacci holds, then fires it at the net. It hits off the body of a defender and finds its way into the back. All tied at 3. We go to overtime, to double overtime. Charlie Russell has a lane, fires. This tips off of Nolan Renwick, and the Maine Black Bears are heading to their first Hockey East championship since 2012. They win it 4-3. All right, let's move on now, and we'll move on to some basketball. It's the best day on the sports calendar for college basketball fans. The NCAA tournament kicking off with the round of 64 on Thursday. Let the madness begin. Cooper Flagg and the Duke Blue Devils are the top seed in the East region. They have to wait. They will play Mount St. Mary's on Friday afternoon. After an ankle injury in the ACC quarterfinal round, Flagg sat for the semis and the conference championship, but he is expected to play in Friday's first-round game. Duke is the betting favorite to win the NCAA tournament and cut down the nets, and Flagg says he's been working hard to get back and is confident in his squad this March.
I'm feeling pretty good. We have an incredible team, incredible training staff. So we've been working through the steps of just getting back, getting to 100%. I feel very good. I'm very confident moving forward.
Flagg and Duke take on 16 seed Mount St. Mary's at 2:50 on Friday afternoon. Let's stay with some basketball now. Some big news out of the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have officially been sold pending approval from the National Basketball Association. It was announced after last year's title that Wyc Grousbeck and the ownership group, Boston Basketball Partners LLC, would be seeking a sale of the Celtics. And on Thursday, Business Wire reporting that Grousbeck is in agreement to sell the franchise for $6.1 billion to an investor group led by William Chisholm. Chisholm, a Mass native and a lifelong Celtics fan. Grousbeck will remain in his role as CEO and governor through 2028. In a statement with Business Wire, Chisholm says, growing up on the North Shore and attending college in New England, I have been a diehard Celtics fan my entire life. I understand how important the Celtics are to the city of Boston. The role the team plays in the community is different than any other city in the country. He goes on to say he understands his responsibility as the owner and is up for the challenge, and closes by saying he's looking to work to bring more titles to Boston. Grousbeck writes that Bill is a terrific person and a true Celtics fan. Born and raised in the area, he says Bill's love for the team and the city and his chemistry with the front office makes him a natural choice for the job. Says Chisholm burns with a passion to win on the court while being totally committed to the community. It's nice that the team falls in the hands of a fan. That is all the time we have for sports right now. We'll be right back after the break.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Any job goes more smoothly and successfully with the right people on your team, like the people at Hammond Lumber Company, where you'll find high-quality building materials from industry-leading suppliers and get expert advice and professional services. Hammond offers timely delivery with their own fleet of trucks, with boom and forklift trucks available. For your next project, get the materials and services you need to succeed from Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota.
Hey, there he is. Let's do this.
Hey, you ready? Yeah.
You're up, guys. All right.
Now, from the longest-lasting brand, you could get $4.99 for $60 on an adventure-seeking all-wheel drive RAV4. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Go from dreaming it to driving it today.
Yeah.
Come on.
Toyota. Let's go places.
Your local financial partner has a new name, the County Federal Credit Union. And we're inspired by the people we serve, the big dreamers and smart planners, the risk takers and trailblazers. As a lifelong partner offering powerful tools and personal service, we were built for our members. Start a financial relationship that's driven by community and inspired by you. Visit countyfcu.org.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm here with Sam Edelston this morning. He's a dulcimer player, and he's bringing the sounds of the dulcimer to Millinocket, Maine this weekend. Sam, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Emma. It's great to be here.
So we're going to get to hear this beautiful instrument in just a moment. But Sam, before we do, I want to ask you, where are you from and what's bringing you to Millinocket, Maine?
Well, so I live in Connecticut, the farthest corner of it from here. And so it was a nice long drive yesterday.
Yep.
And I've got this super fan, I'm going to call out his name, Ben Barr, up in Millinocket.
Shout out, Ben.
Who got me a gig at the, I'm going to mispronounce it, probably Boreal Theater up there.
Yep. I think that's right. I can't say for sure.
And so I'm going to be performing there tomorrow. I think it's 6 o'clock.
Yep.
And also I'll be doing a presentation at the library right in town there too, which is for like elementary and middle school kids, but also totally appropriate for adults, totally appropriate for college, called Make Music Your Own, which is really about playing more than just the notes that are handed to you on paper.
Cool. And there's all sorts of stuff that we can get into there, but that kind of leads us to what got you into this instrument, right? What made you interested in playing the dulcimer?
I wasn't. I was dragged kicking and screaming to it. I grew up musically as a fingerstyle guitarist, and so I'm accustomed to having a full, complete sound.
Yeah.
And I didn't think you could get that out of only 3 strings.
Which, by the way, if people at home can't see, there are only 3 strings on this instrument, and I didn't know that before you came in.
And not only that, if you look at the fretboard, it's missing a couple of frets.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the dulcimer has frets sort of like do, re, mi, like in The Sound of Music, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Yep.
And I didn't think you could play much interesting with those handicaps. And then one day, I'm skipping a long story.
Yep.
I sat down with one for a couple of hours, and within an hour and a half, I was playing like Mellow Yellow by Donovan.
Cool.
And I was playing Bang a Gong by T-Rex, and I was playing the backbeat and the melody and the fills all together. And that was like my eureka green eggs and ham moment. Hey, I like green eggs and ham.
And this is your thing now, and you get to travel around and share the sounds to others.
Yeah. Yeah, this month it's up to Maine and later in the weekend Massachusetts.
Cool.
Next month I'll be in North Carolina and Virginia.
Wow, yeah, you are busy. So are these originals? Are you doing any covers, a little bit of both?
So with only 3 strings, people get most impressed when they hear familiar songs that they're accustomed to hearing on a record.
Totally, yep.
And how did you make Led Zeppelin come out of just 3 strings?
Yeah, yeah.
How did you make, Blondie? How did you make Simon and Garfunkel?
I love all of those.
How did you make Black Sabbath? Well, Black Sabbath is a lot
especially Black
easier.
Sabbath. Oh, I wish I could have requested a Black Sabbath.
Oh, I've got a couple of Black Sabbath songs up on my YouTube channel.
Oh, good. Well, I did ask him, just to be clear, I did ask him to play a song that was only about 2 minutes long, and that's not most Black Sabbath songs. But hey, let's get right into it. Can we hear you play?
Okay, certainly. So I released this CD last year, which is called Making Waves, and it is sort of a revolution. I should stop talking and just play something, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So this is "Call Me" by Blondie.
Love that song.
Yeah, and which I know for you and me, well, you're not old enough for this to be that familiar. You got it as an oldie,
I
right?
have good taste, man.
Okay, yeah. You travel in the right circles,
Yeah.
you get exposed to the right things.
Right.
And coincidentally, the engineer and co-producer who recorded this actually recorded the demo that got Blondie their contract. And in a sound check, I sang into the same mic that Debbie Harry sang into.
Okay, so a full circle moment.
Yes.
Yeah, you're destined for this one.
Okay,
Yeah.
ready?
Yes, I am. Wow, great job.
There you go. Thank
that
you
was
so
beautiful.
Much. And tomorrow at the theater, it's going to be amplified.
Yes, and that it deserves to be. I could just hear the "call me." I was like, I'm not going to be able to go that high. Call me. Great job, Sam. Thank you so much.
Emma, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
And I forgot. We don't know when you're going to be there or where. You have a website so people can find out.
Yes. SamTheMusicMan.com.
I'll link that when I post it. Sam, thanks so much for joining us.
We were all rocking out in the director's booth.
Yeah, you can't hear Craig, but Craig admonishes you.
Hey, thank you so much, Craig.
Yeah, we'll send it over to Devin Biggs for the full forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Alrighty, we got one lone flood advisory up until further notice, dealing with some ice jams in this one lone area, while gale warnings and small crowd advisories are up along the coast as we are dealing with some active surf at this time. Let's check on that right now at around 5 feet according to the buoys. Anywhere you see this light blue or even the green out there, that indicates some of the active surf that we are dealing with this morning. Meanwhile, we're also dealing with some areas of dense fog that has reduced visibility in many areas this morning. Definitely exercise some caution as you do make that morning commute. We are watching clouds tracking off to the north and east. There's some rain right about in here too, and there's even some snow on the back edge as some colder air is causing some of the precipitation here to switch over to a little bit of snow. We'll see a little bit of snow from the system before it wraps up later on tonight. So futurecast moving forward, there's some rain passing through. We're going to be watching for this to switch over to snow later this afternoon. Then once we head towards the evening time frame, again, a little bit of snow can't be ruled out. Notice as we head towards Saturday morning, the clouds get out of here too, so we'll have a good amount of sunshine as we head towards your Saturday. Maybe some clouds moving in by Saturday evening with another little system moving in, so some rain and snow again as we head towards early Sunday morning. As for the rainfall, a decent amount, maybe up to a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain before we're all finished up with this current system. And then a little bit of snow can't be ruled out either, maybe a couple inches further off towards the north and not much of anything, maybe a little bit further down toward the south, but otherwise nothing too impressive at this point. But otherwise, your forecast coming up for today, we have low 40s, some rain and snow on the way. It will be breezy as well. North wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour or so. Later on tonight, upper 20s, some rain and snow early, decreasing clouds overnight, and that northwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. And then it's Saturday, mid-50s. That will feel nice, increasing clouds, breezy out there, southwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine. So some morning snow showers Sunday, otherwise partly cloudy to even mostly sunny with highs in the upper 30s. Upper 30s again for your Monday, a good chance for snow. More rain and snow opportunities Tuesday with highs in the upper 40s.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Did he lose his shirt?
I've never seen anybody lose their shirt.
I guess deny and delay didn't work today. Now look at him.
Who's the law firm?
The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
If you've been injured in an accident, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein. Maine lawyers working for Maine people.
Tell the insurance company you mean business.
Treat yourself to rich Ghirardelli chocolate and luscious caramel. Experience Ghirardelli caramel squares in a bag and a bar. Makes life a bite better.
Every answer tells a story.
Fill in the blank, white as blank.
White as a baby's butt.
All the black people start laughing.
But sometimes, don't tell it on national TV.
Name a sound that ruins a moment of romance.
Either one saying stop.
Oh, no, Big Daddy, ain't no stopping.
Family Feud.
You finna finish what you started.
Weeknights at 7 on Fox 22.
Up and Smoke Fireworks is family-owned with a huge selection including Brothers and Showtime, Time Bandit, and Black Hat brands. We will share our knowledge with you, then go have a blast. Up and Smoke Fireworks, 173 West Main Street, Searsport.
We we've really had a lot of fun this morning. I hate to leave it on such a down note, but there is apparently some breaking news to tell you about it. There's word of an apparent homicide that took place in Etna this morning. A woman called police to report that she had stabbed her boyfriend in a home on the Old County Road. According to the local scanner traffic, the alleged victim has passed away and the woman has been taken into custody. There's also word that there's a 3-year-old child present at the time, but that child is now in protective custody and is doing okay. We will certainly be covering that apparent homicide and getting some confirmation on this as the day rolls along, and we'll have more on that coming up on ABC 7 News at noon.
Absolutely.
So,
and if you need any updates in the meantime, you can head to foxbangor.com.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to leave you there, but we hope you have a lovely weekend.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Have a great day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he's one of the few celebrities we've had on this series who actually likes the hideous low-budget trailers we rented. It's Head Crag!